starting with 1 million luck points. Chapter 331, Guaranteed Death. Zhou Hao laughed loudly, and his confidence soared. Since he was so powerful, he was not going to stand on ceremony. After all, killing a quasi-heaven realm expert would increase his luck points by more than 10 million. Zhou Hao exploded. At this moment, he did not hold back. The battlefield was constantly changing, and he had to resolve this as soon as possible. Under his essence energy body, Zhou Hao's body emitted a powerful fluctuation, making the beast's heart tremble. This aura is like a heaven realm expert. How could it be? His body is too powerful. I can't resist him at all. Damn it, isn't he a quasi-heaven realm expert? Why is his combat strength approaching the heaven realm? The three foreign beasts could not help but speak, but Zhou Hao had already arrived. After learning how powerful his physical body was, Zhou Hao was not afraid. Seeing the Titan Bear King's mountain-like fist strike, Zhou Hao also punched. Boom! Energy waves surged as a bang resounded. Crack! With a crisp sound, the Titan Bear King's body shot backward. Half of its bones were directly shattered, and its life aura instantly reached the critical point of death. The second punch. After directly crippling a quasi-heaven realm expert, this scene was even more impactful to everyone. Piercing through the 100 Insect King with a single strike. Shattering the Titan Bear King with a single punch. At this moment, Zhou Hao's aura surged. Before the golden armor lizard could use its full strength, it realized that its two companions had basically lost their combat strength. Zhou Hao did not even have the chance to think before he appeared in front of the gold armor lizard in the next second. A huge force descended with a bang, and his blood essence surged. The towering strength of the punch smashed fiercely onto the lizard's golden armor. With an explosion, the golden armored lizard's so-called strongest defensive armor was immediately shattered by Zhou Hao. Everyone was stunned. Even the foreign beast army was stunned. They had just started fighting and had yet to enter the climax of the battle. However, there were already 3 quasi-heaven realm experts here who had been beaten to the point of losing their combat strength. This undoubtedly lowered their morale. Originally, their battle plan this time was to cross the spatial rift and add reinforcement to the spatial rift. They wanted to take this place and establish an foreign race base here to expand. They had been planning this for a long time, but just now, Zhou Hao's 3 punches had shattered their dreams. How could they win against such an expert? They were so shocked, but Zhou Hao was even more excited. 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts, how many luck points was that? This was simply a timely help. Zhou Hao did not want to give them a chance. He directly attacked. He took out his spear, and lightning filled the sky. It was like heavenly lightning that had descended to the mortal world. He directly attacked. With the support of essence energy, Zhou Hao attacked with the intention of taking their lives. Seeing the lightning descend, the 3 of them were about to die. However, at this moment, a powerful aura instantly descended. How dare you, human! This aura appeared with an invincible strength. Although Zhou Hao did not know what that power was, he knew that it was definitely a heaven realm. A true heaven realm expert, or at least a 3rd-grade heaven realm expert. It was also at this moment that Zhou Hao saw a foreign race being that was extremely similar to a human walking out of the void. This foreign race being had wings and was holding a blood-colored saber. If one ignored his other features, he would undoubtedly be mistaken for a human. However, his eyes were blood red, revealing long fangs and bone-like wings. It was very shocking. His aura was so powerful that it suppressed this space, instantly making the aura here chaotic. It also made Zhou Hao's lightning that filled the sky instantly stop. Then, he slowly raised his hand. A towering blood blade appeared and directly shattered Zhou Hao's lightning. This scene shocked everyone. Even Zhu Zhao was the same. Damn, why would a night elf appear here? He's from the royal family of the foreign beasts and has a true royal bloodline. Moreover, he has a promising bloodline and has the strength of an 8th grade Heaven Realm expert. Why would he appear here? Murongsun's voice sounded in Zhou Hao's head with fear. It could be imagined how much pressure this person gave him. Zhou Hao was also shocked. Was this the so-called Heaven Realm cultivation? The other party was indeed powerful. Standing there, he was like the ruler of the world. It was as if even space could not withstand his strength. Humph! I didn't expect the human race to have such a powerful quasi-Heaven Realm expert. Leaving you in this world is too much of a threat to our foreign races. Therefore, die. He did not say much nonsense because he knew that Heaven Realm experts could not interfere with a Heaven Realm battle. However, at this moment, he was already prepared to break the agreement. He would risk death just to kill Zhou Hao. His strike seemed to cover the sky as blood-red color descended with a bang. At this moment, Zhou Hao felt a sense of death. He knew that if he resisted the blood blade, he would definitely die. Even if his body had been tempered, he would still die. Chapter 332, Sword King Qing. It's over. Run. At this moment, Zhu Zhao was already too late and could not save Zhou Hao. Although he rushed over with his full strength and even did not hesitate to use his blood essence power to reduce his lifespan, he was still unable to save Zhou Hao. Heaven Realm experts were not allowed to enter the battlefield. Therefore, when the Night Elf attacked, he was still only at the back of the battlefield while Zhou Hao was at the front. Moreover, the cultivation level of this Night Elf royalty was incomparably powerful. Even Zhu Zhao was unable to resist. Just as Zhou Hao was about to die, a cold snort sounded. Immediately, a powerful fluctuation exploded in the air. Zhou Hao saw a sword aura fly over and directly face the blood blade. Boom! A huge bang sounded, and an intense shock wave exploded. Even Zhou Hao was forced back 50 kilometers. Dark Night King, you've crossed the line. A faint voice sounded. Zhou Hao saw a white-robed man holding a green sword in his hand as he stood in the void. His powerful cultivation shattered the blood essence that filled the sky. This is Sword King Qing. When Zhu Zhao saw the person, he immediately heaved a sigh of relief. With Sword King Qing around, Zhou Hao's life would be saved. The Dark Night King's expression turned ugly when he saw Sword King Qing appear. He did not expect this person to arrive so quickly, so he snorted. Sword King Qing, you still have the time to walk out of the spatial rift. How impressive! The Dark Night King sneered. Dark Night King, you've crossed the line. I need a satisfactory answer from you. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave today. Sword King Qing stood in the void, his powerful cultivation spreading with fighting spirit. You want to fight me? Sword King Qing, looks like you still don't understand the situation. The Dark Night King teased. It's useless to say anything else. Dark Night King, although it will take me some effort to kill you, if I pay the price, you will definitely die today. You're not the only king of the Night Elf royal family. If you die, you know how your bloodline will suffer. Therefore, I need an explanation from you. Otherwise, even if we die together today, I'll make sure you won't be able to leave. Sword King Qing said indifferently. His voice was not loud, but it was filled with an imposing aura. Although the foreign races had always cooperated, they were not united. Moreover, everyone knew that if this Dark Night King died here, his bloodline would naturally be devoured by the other royal families. Foreign beasts were not like humans and had no laws to speak of. If he died, his lineage would only become slaves. Sword King Qing was aware of this and wanted him to make concessions. At the very least, he wanted the foreign races to leave the 12th spatial rift alone. This was the price for breaking the agreement. The Dark Night King's expression turned ugly. He did not want to give up the opportunity, nor did he want to give up. With a sneer, he said, Sword King Qing, it's useless for you to scare me. I was the one who offended you today, but it's impossible for you to keep me here. The Dark Night King also had a domineering attitude and did not give in at all. The Dark Night King said this with confidence. He knew that Sword King Qing knew their night elf race well and knew that he did not dare to take the risk. Once he fell, his bloodline would be reduced to the slaves of other royal families. This was the usual method of the foreign races. They were ruthless and never showed mercy to their enemies, even if they were of the same race. However, the Dark Night King was very smart. He knew that Sword King Qing did not dare to take the risk either. The war at the front line was very tense. If he, Sword King Qing, died, the pressure on the front line would increase. Even if he did not die, the front line would not be able to handle it for a few months. The death of a Dark Night King meant that the foreign races only lost a Heaven Realm expert. However, losing a peak-level combat strength of Sword King Qing for a few months will not be easy for human cultivators. Sword King Qing's strength was powerful. Although he was only at the 8th stage Heaven Realm, he was not at a disadvantage against a 9th stage expert. It could be said that Sword King Qing was completely capable of defeating the 2 Heaven Realm experts of the foreign races. Moreover, Sword King Qing was also the commander of the front line. He was not only a boorish man, but he was also a strategist who was capable of determining victory. If anything happened to him, at least 3 of the 13 spatial rifts would be occupied by the foreign races. This was not because the Dark Night King was exaggerating or praising Sword King Qing, but because he had such strength. Everyone in the foreign races knew Sword King Qing. Therefore, even if the Dark Night King was certain, Sword King Qing did not dare to gamble. Even if he dared, the other human cultivators would not be willing to let him. This was also where his confidence lay. Sword King Qing, let's drop the matter today. If you continue to pester me, I can only fight with my life. At most, we'll die together. However, you have to think carefully about the situation at the front line. The Dark Night King sneered and looked at Sword King Qing with confidence. Chapter 333, As a Human Warrior, How Could You Retreat? Sword King Qing narrowed his eyes, thinking to himself that this Dark Night King was really calm. If he wanted to kill him, he indeed had to pay a price. The Night Elf race was a royal race among the foreign races and this Dark Night King in front of him was only slightly inferior to him. If they fought, he would not be able to escape unscathed. It was even possible that he would be severely injured. Once he was severely injured and could not recover for the time being, the foreign races naturally would not let go of this opportunity. However, Sword King Qing was unwilling to let the Dark Night King leave like this. Zhou Hao had always been paying attention to this. His expression was ugly. The foreign race's unyielding attitude made him nervous. From the Dark Night King's words, it was not difficult to tell how bad the situation at the front line was. They were clearly the ones who had crossed the line and did not care about the agreement to destroy the Heaven Realm experts. This meant that they were fearless. Any agreement was built on the foundation of equal strength. But now, the foreign race's unyielding attitude explained everything. Zhou Hao became anxious. If the Dark Night King was allowed to leave like this, it would definitely be a humiliation for the humans. It might even affect the morale of the human warriors. This was not a good thing. Zhou Hao took a deep breath, and his eyes flashed. He had an idea. He directly sent a voice transmission to Sword King Qing. "Senior, do you have a way to delay the Dark Night King?" Sword King Qing was stunned for a moment when he suddenly heard Zhou Hao's voice. He followed the source of the voice and found out that it was the human expert he had just saved. Therefore, he did not hide anything. "It's easy to stall him, but I'll have to pay a huge price to kill him," Sword King Qing said immediately. "Senior, there's no need to kill him. He also doesn't dare to risk his life against you," Zhou Hao immediately said. Sword King Qing's expression did not change. He could not help but ask, "Oh? Why are you so sure? Although he wants to kill you, he can't beat you." His confidence comes from the fact that Senior is very important to the human race. This is because he knows that the war at the front line is tense and that you don't dare to risk your life. However, at the same time, he doesn't dare to fall out with you because you know about the Dark Elf royal family. Therefore, under mutual fear, the matter will be left unsettled in the end. This is the outcome he wants. Actually, it's also the outcome that we humans can only accept. After all, we can't let you get injured because of this Dark Night King and end up endangering the entire human race. Therefore, Senior, you can't kill him. Instead, you have to keep him alive. Zhou Hao's analysis was very reasonable, but Sword King Qing frowned and asked. Your analysis is very reasonable, and it is indeed so at this moment. Although I'm not afraid of death, I still don't dare to take the risk. Since you chose to send a voice transmission to me and let me delay him, I believe you have a solution. Zhou Hao immediately said, That's right. Senior, it will only take a few minutes for you to stall him. There's no need to fight with your life. I'll take the opportunity to kill the 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts that don't have combat strength. In this way, our human race won't lose anything. Moreover, once we kill 3 quasi-heaven realm experts on their side, even if he has a noble status in the foreign races, it probably won't be easy to clean up the mess. This was Zhou Hao's plan. Oh? Interesting. However, aren't you worried that the foreign races will mobilize and fight to the death to snatch the 13th spatial rift? It has to be known that our human race is fighting countless foreign races. The situation is not optimistic. Sword King Qing was telling the truth. He was not timid, but there were so many foreign races. Although they were not united, they were still fighting together against the human race. After all, the humans occupied half of planet Earth's resources and half of the territory. It was extremely attractive to them. Senior, don't worry. Killing 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts won't be enough to provoke them. Moreover, I don't think he'd be willing to abandon the lives of others just for the deaths of 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts. At that time, we only need to negotiate. Both sides can just put down the 13th spatial rift. If they don't agree, then we'll start a war. Are we humans afraid of them? Zhou Hao's heroic words immediately put Sword King Qing in a difficult spot. He was not worried, but after this matter, the foreign races would target the Dark Night King. However, at the same time, Zhou Hao would also fall into the eyes of the foreign races. A quasi-heaven realm expert with combat strength comparable to a heaven realm expert was a thorn in the eyes of the foreign races. He believed that in the future, there would be endless danger waiting for him. Sword King Qing turned around and looked at Zhou Hao. Seeing his calm expression, he sent a voice transmission. Aren't you afraid? These 3 words revealed Sword King Qing's heartache. Similarly, it also revealed his helplessness. He really did not want to burden Zhou Hao with all the problems this time, nor did he want him to be noticed by the foreign race heaven realm experts. Zhou Hao smiled. He naturally thought that once he killed these 3 quasi-heaven realm experts, the Dark Night King would be blamed by the foreign races. As for him, he would also catch their attention. They would even not hesitate to send a secret expert to kill him. Of course Zhou Hao was afraid, but as a human warrior, how could he retreat? Chapter 334, Afraid but not regretful. He looked up at Sword King Qing with a firm gaze, but he only replied indifferently. I'm afraid, but I have no regrets. These words contained endless power, making Sword King Qing feel deep veneration. Although he was a peak-level human warrior, at this moment, he began to admire Zhou Hao. Facing countless foreign races, even Sword King Qing was afraid. However, Zhou Hao had no regrets. Sword King Qing really admired such breadth of mind and courage. This person was extraordinary and could definitely reach the heavens. Sword King Qing looked at Zhou Hao and only thought of this. This child's future accomplishments will definitely be higher than mine. I'm glad that he is a part of the human race. Sword King Qing retracted his gaze, but his eyes were filled with fighting spirit. He directly drew his sword. Although the two of them spoke a lot, they only exchanged a few breaths. The Dark Night King originally thought that Sword King Qing would be afraid and leave the matter unsettled. However, he did not expect Sword King Qing to actually draw his sword and point it at him. I've long known that the Night Elf royal family's methods are monstrous. I, Qing Fubai, want to try it today. With that said, Sword King Qing had already rushed out. Sword King Qing, do you know what you're doing? The Dark Night King immediately panicked, and his expression changed drastically. Blood essence also appeared in the sky. He had the noble bloodline of a foreign race. At this moment, when he activated his cultivation, the shocking strength of an 8th grade Heaven Realm expert swept through the entire scene. However, Sword King Qing's green sword was not to be trifled with either. The long sword hissed and approached with a destructive force. The two of them instantly fought, leaving behind continuous rumbling in the air. The human and foreign race cultivators below roared and rushed over. As for Zhou Hao, he stared at the 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts that had already lost their combat strength. He directly raised his spear, and lightning descended from the sky. After being tempered by essence energy, Zhou Hao's combat strength was close to the quasi-heaven realm. If he did not advance to the heaven realm, he would be invincible. Moreover, these 3 huge beasts no longer had any strength to fight back. Seeing Zhou Hao attack, the Dark Night King's expression immediately changed as he shouted angrily. "Despicable human, how dare you!" Zhou Hao ignored him and sneered. "There's nothing I don't dare to do." The spear rose and thunder filled the sky. The spear fell and annihilated all living beings. The 3 foreign beasts that had already lost their combat strength were instantly transformed into ashes and could not be any more dead. Zhou Hao's luck points instantly soared and exceeded 100 million. The Dark Night King's eyes widened. He did not expect this group of humans to dare to attack. However, before he could recover from his anger, Zhou Hao's figure had already appeared in front of the other quasi-heaven realm beasts. "Dark Night King, if you don't agree to the ceasefire today and don't invade the 13th spatial rift again, those quasi-heaven realm beasts will definitely die. If they die, it won't be easy for you to report, right?" Sword King Qing laughed loudly and was incomparably carefree. Although he was only holding back the Dark Night King and did not fight him with his life, his blood still boiled when he saw Zhou Hao being so ferocious. The human cultivators below regained their senses and roared. "President Zhou is mighty. Chase them out of the 13th spatial rift." "That's right. If they don't agree, kill them all. President Zhou is invincible. Brothers, kill them." The blood essence of all the human warriors surged. On the other hand, the foreign races shut themselves up on the spot. They originally thought that the Dark Night King would be able to help them obtain victory. However, who would have expected that the outcome would be the same after he appeared? He instantly lost his fighting spirit, and many foreign race warriors even retreated, prepared to return to the spatial rift. Especially those quasi-heaven realm beasts. Their intelligence was not low, and they knew that they would lose today no matter what. Why would they lose their lives because of this? However, Zhou Hao would not agree to let them leave so easily. Zhou Hao used the Golden Crow escape technique. Countless spear lights streaked across the spear in his hand. Countless lightning powers condensed in the air as he attacked. Zhou Hao was invincible here, so the foreign beasts were trembling with fear. It was not only them, but even the Dark Night King. The death of 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts was already embarrassing for him, making it difficult for him to explain in front of the other foreign races. If more quasi-heaven realm beasts died, it would really be over. The Dark Night King gritted his teeth and roared, "Sword King Qing, I agree to never invade the 13th spatial rift. Quickly get your people to stop. Otherwise, even if I die today, I'll heavily injure you." The Dark Night King compromised. He was afraid. For the first time in his life, he actually felt afraid. This small quasi-heaven realm human brat was actually so ferocious and did not play according to the rules. It was really unexpected. Therefore, after weighing the pros and cons, he could only compromise. When Sword King Qing heard this, he directly put away his sword. Zhou Hao also put away his spear. They had already achieved their goal today and could not go overboard. If Zhou Hao continued to kill these quasi-heaven realm beasts, he would really be a boorish fellow and bring trouble to the human race. However, as of now, only 3 of them had died. This was still acceptable to the foreign races. I'll remember this, Sword King Qing. And you, human brat, I'll remember you. President Zhou, right? I'll crush your head sooner or later. The Dark Night King was so furious that he trembled. He opened a spatial rift and descended, leaving with these soldiers. The foreign races that were originally in the 13th spatial rift also retreated from the 13th spatial rift, not daring to enter. We won. We won. Sword King Qing is invincible, and President Zhou is invincible. The humans cheered, their voices shaking the sky. In the distance, Zhu Zhao, Ling Shuiying, and the other quasi-heaven realm experts heaved a sigh of relief. Seeing the foreign races retreat, the danger today could also be resolved. Moreover, the Dark Night King had already agreed to leave the 13th spatial rift and never invade it. This was undoubtedly great news for the human race. With the reduction of the spatial rift, the pressure on humanity would decrease again. Chapter 335, Slaying People Like Slaying Dogs. You're not bad, President Zhou. I thank you on behalf of the human race. I've been away for a while now, so I can't talk to you anymore. In the future, when we meet, I'll definitely give you a toast. Sword King Qing looked at Zhou Hao and was very happy. His body moved and he directly left. Zhu Zhao rushed over at this moment and laughed when he saw Zhou Hao. President Zhou, you've really helped the humans a lot. The foreign races have promised not to invade the 13th spatial rift. It's a huge piece of good news for us humans. This credit belongs to you. Zhu Zhao was extremely happy, and Ling Shuiying's beautiful eyes were even filled with admiration. Zhou Hao smiled. Heavenly King Zhu, you're too kind. President Zhou, if not for you, the 13th spatial rift would have been in danger. Heavenly King Zhu was not just praising Zhou Hao for the sake of it. After all, everyone saw what he did. If not for the fact that Zhou Hao had killed 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts, it would have been impossible for him to resolve this crisis. However, Zhou Hao shook his head. Heavenly King Zhu, don't say that. It's hard to accomplish anything alone. Since ancient times, everything has been reasonable. If not for the soldiers, I wouldn't have been worth mentioning. Moreover, if Sword King Qing hadn't appeared today, I would have been beheaded. Therefore, Heavenly King Zhu, stop giving me all the credit. Zhou Hao smiled and said. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone felt deep veneration for him. This was a true expert. Everyone could tell that he was the first to charge into battle and was not afraid of death. After the battle, he was so humble and magnanimous. How could such an expert not be respected? After saying this, Zhou Hao did not leave because he knew that there were still things to deal with. Heavenly King Zhu, although I discussed with Senior Sword King Qing just now that we killed 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts and forced the Dark Night King to agree not to enter the 13th spatial rift, I'm still worried that the foreign races won't keep their word. Is there a way to resolve this? Zhou Hao was still very worried. After all, the Dark Night King had already broken the agreement and attacked him. If he broke the agreement before, it was very likely that he would go back on his word a second time. The foreign races did not follow the rules and were violent by nature. It was probably not easy for them to abide by the rules. Heavenly King Zhu smiled when he heard this. President Zhou, you don't have to worry about this. The front line has already been notified. As Zhu Zhao spoke, he brought Zhou Hao and the others back to the base. He brought Zhou Hao to his office and directly opened the message to send the frontline combat report. Zhou Hao looked at the battle report and his expression immediately changed, revealing ecstasy. Although the 13 spatial rifts put some pressure on us humans, it doesn't mean that we humans are pushovers. Today, the matter has just ended. The heavenly kings on the front line have already negotiated with the foreign races and made them give up the 13th spatial rift. At the very least, no one above the supernatural level is allowed to enter. Zhu Zhao said. Did the foreign races really agree? Zhou Hao was still uncertain. That's right. Our human race is fighting countless foreign races. It's obvious how powerful we are. Moreover, this matter has really alarmed a mighty expert. The foreign races can only agree, Zhu Zhao said with a smile. An mighty expert. Zhou Hao caught the three key words. This mighty expert had an extraordinary meaning. At this moment, there were only Zhou Hao and Zhu Zhao. Zhu Zhao did not hide anything. Actually, only those who have reached the heavenly king level are qualified to know about this. However, you have contributed greatly to the human race, so the higher UPS have decided that there are some things that you can also know. President Zhou, let me ask you this. Why are we humans able to stand tall against so many races? Our experts are clearly on the same level but are still no match for the foreign beasts, but why are we still able to compete with them? In fact, our human race occupies half of planet Earth's resources despite sharing planet Earth with countless foreign races. Have you thought about why this is? Zhu Zhao's words stunned Zhou Hao for a moment, and he shook his head. He had only entered the martial artist world for a short period of time and naturally did not know these confidential matters. Then let me ask you again. All the treaties and agreements are built on the foundation of equality. But on the battlefield, what kind of power can affect the battle? Zhu Zhao said. Zhou Hao said without hesitation, it's the peak strength. Only the peak strength can affect the outcome of the battle. After all, peak strength can fight 100, 10,000, or even 1,000,000. That's right, peak level strength. I think you should understand what I meant just now, right? Zhu Zhao smiled. Zhou Hao's expression changed as he hurriedly asked, Heavenly King Zhu, are you saying that the peak strength of our human race is even stronger than the foreign races? Zhu Zhao shook his head. That's not necessarily true, but the peak strength of our human race is definitely something the foreign races fear. It has to be known that powerful people have an extremely high effect on the battlefield. Let me give you an example. Just like how you faced several foreign race quasi-heaven realm experts of the same level. Although you might not necessarily be able to kill them, it won't be easy for them to kill you. However, once you go crazy, killing people weaker than you is as easy as killing a dog, right? Chapter 336, Black Dragon Spear? Zhou Hao nodded. Indeed, if he wanted to kill the supernatural beast, he could do it instantly. Therefore, if the peak combat strength of our human race is really angered, we can easily destroy countless foreign races. Even if they have other experts from the same world, they wouldn't dare to pressure us. After all, when an expert of that level goes crazy, everyone is afraid. And this time, the foreign races were the ones who broke the agreement first. They were in the wrong to begin with. Moreover, with the intervention of a great expert, the foreign races are still afraid. At this point, Zhou Hao understood that the reason why the human experts had intervened was because they wanted to use this opportunity to negotiate. Although Heavenly King Zhu did not say it explicitly, Zhou Hao could roughly guess that since Heaven Realm experts were not allowed to interfere in battles below the Heaven Realm, those experts probably had an agreement not to interfere too much in the battlefield. However, the foreign races had broken the agreement first, so the human experts naturally could not show weakness. Even though the humans had won this battle, the foreign races were still in the wrong and could not say anything. In fear, they could only give up on the 13th spatial rift. It was just as Heavenly King Zhu had said. Once that kind of expert went crazy, the foreign races would also be afraid. Zhou Hao blinked. He had not expected this. President Zhou, this is completely a war between enemies. The battlefield between the two sides is not only limited to the battlefield, but it also concerns all aspects of the Dao. However, I can't say much about many things. In the future, when you reach the Heaven Realm and enter the spatial rift, you will definitely know. Heavenly King Zhu smiled and spoke. Just as he was speaking, he suddenly froze for a moment. Then, he opened the projection and the scene appeared. Sword King Qing's appearance appeared on the screen. Sword King Qing. Zhu Zhao was stunned for a moment, and so was Zhou Hao. Hehe, President Zhou, we meet again, Sword King Qing said with a smile. Greetings, Senior, Zhou Hao said respectfully. No need to be so polite. President Zhou, you've done a great job in today's battle. The Alliance has specially distributed rewards for you. I've already sent someone to deliver the items to you. I hope you like them. After Sword King Qing finished speaking, he continued. The foreign races above the supernatural level have basically left the 13th spatial rift. The strongest combatants left behind are only grandmasters. Our human race can establish a defensive line. In addition, from today onwards, the 13th spatial rift will also become a training base to nurture our human warriors. Heavenly King Zhu, I'll leave this to you. Hearing this, Zhu Zhao was overjoyed and hurriedly said, Sword King Qing, is that true? That's great. That's right. With this safe training base, our human warriors will definitely be one step closer to growing stronger. The various regions will begin to prepare to send students here for special training. In the future, the 13th spatial rift will be very lively. After Sword King Qing finished speaking, he looked deeply at Zhou Hao. President Zhou, I'll cut the crap. You've done a great job this time. Your good deeds will not be forgotten. Also, I'll wait for you in the spatial rift. I promise to give you a toast. When you come, we'll drink and chat happily. Zhou Hao nodded. All right, I won't go home until I'm drunk. Zhou Hao was very excited. He did not expect that not only had the battle today relieved the pressure on the front line, but the 13th spatial rift had also become a training base for the humans. It was really killing three birds with one stone. At this moment, Heavenly King Zhu received a message and smiled. President Zhou, your reward has arrived. After Heavenly King Zhu finished speaking, Zhou Hao immediately became excited. The reward given by the higher UPS was definitely something good. Although Zhou Hao was fighting for the sake of the safety of the human race, he still had to take the reward. Heavenly King Zhu brought Zhou Hao outside and saw a long spear that emitted black light and powerful fluctuations standing in the center of the ground. There was also a small box at the side with an ancient scroll inside. Zhu Zhao was also incomparably shocked when he saw the spear. This is the Black Dragon Spear. Zhu Zhao clearly recognized this item. When he saw the Black Dragon Spear, he did not dare to believe that such a precious item had been taken out and rewarded to President Zhou. Black Dragon Spear. Zhou Hao was stunned for a moment and naturally did not know. President Zhou, this spear is forged from a meteorite. Such a treasure is incomparably precious in the entire human race on planet Earth. Even a Heaven Realm expert would find it difficult to obtain one. Looks like the higher UPS think very highly of you. This is both a reward and a way for them to nurture you. Zhu Zhao was very envious. Even a Heaven Realm expert like him did not have such a powerful weapon. Chapter 337, The Bad News Is this spear very powerful? Zhou Hao could not help but ask. Of course, even the titanium alloy we developed is not as hard as a weapon forged from a meteorite from outer space. Moreover, this spear has been enhanced by a mighty expert. Its might is huge. You'll know when you use it. Hearing Heavenly King Zhu say this, Zhou Hao was very excited. He also had a weapon in his hand, but compared to this Black Dragon Spear, it was definitely not comparable. Zhou Hao walked over and stretched out his hand to hold the Black Dragon Spear. Immediately, a loud dragon roar shook the world. Immediately, a pressure rumbled as the aura was like a Heaven Realm expert, carrying an aura that only belonged to a Heaven Realm expert. Just a weapon and it already has the pressure of a Heaven Realm expert. This item is indeed extraordinary. Zhou Hao was very excited. After putting away the black dragon spear, he looked at the ancient book. God slaying. These 3 words contained a domineering aura. This book was called God slaying, and its name was really domineering. Zhou Hao did not understand what this was, but Heavenly King Zhu could not help but explain. President Zhou, this book is an ancient book left behind by humans from 100 years ago. It's a secret treasure. I heard that this book should be a heaven realm cultivation technique, but very few people cultivate it. It requires a powerful physical body. The reason why they gave this to you is because they could tell that your physical body is definitely extraordinary for you to be able to use essence energy to temper your body at the quasi-heaven realm. It seems that they want you to try cultivating this secret technique. Zhu Zhao explained to Zhou Hao. After he heard this, he was even more shocked. He did not expect this tattered-looking thing to be a heaven realm cultivation technique. Moreover, if this name was true, it could kill gods. It was definitely a powerful cultivation technique. Heavenly King Zhu, this cultivation technique must be very powerful, right? Zhou Hao asked. This I don't know. After all, no one has ever successfully cultivated this book. It has high requirements on the body. You can try it. Zhu Zhao did not hide the truth from Zhou Hao. It was the truth. Many heaven realm experts had cultivated this cultivation technique before, but its compatibility was ordinary and could not unleash its true strength. However, no one dared to question the strength of this cultivation technique. After all, there had once been a heaven realm expert who only had a compatibility score of 15% with this cultivation technique. After cultivating this technique, he was even able to increase his explosive strength despite having previously cultivated a heaven realm cultivation technique with a 50% compatibility score. It was not difficult to imagine how powerful this cultivation technique would be if one could reach a compatibility score above 50%. I see. Alright, I'll accept it. Help me thank the higher UPS. Zhou Hao did not say anything and left directly. After returning to the villa, Zhou Hao did not hesitate and directly took out the God Slaying. This book was very ancient. After reading it, he was still somewhat confused. Zhou Hao did not care. This book had already been modified and had a mental imprint. Zhou Hao directly engraved it in his mind and began to learn. Just as Zhou Hao circulated this cultivation technique, he felt the essence energy in his body suddenly decrease, making him somewhat flustered. Zhou Hao hurriedly checked the compatibility score and surprisingly discovered that the compatibility score of this cultivation technique was actually slowly increasing. Moreover, as this essence energy was consumed, it slowly increased. Previously, his compatibility score was 5%. However, after the essence energy in his body had disappeared, it had actually reached 10%. The subsequent rise to 20% became slower and slower until it reached 25%. Zhou Hao's essence energy had also been exhausted. Even the essence energy ancestral stones had been used up by Zhou Hao. This sure is tough. After using so many essence energy ancestral stones, I only increased my compatibility score by 20%. Zhou Hao was depressed, but he still wanted to test how powerful this cultivation technique was. His body flashed and arrived at the sea. Then, he circulated the god slaying. Immediately, a powerful pressure descended with a bang. The strength in his body also instantly soared, and the strength of the cultivation technique directly augmented Zhou Hao's entire body. In an instant, a red light rose from his body. This strength shocked Zhou Hao. He was now 5 times stronger than before. In other words, his current combat strength was 5 times that of a quasi-heaven realm expert. What kind of concept was that? If he had long obtained this cultivation technique, he could have instantly killed those 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts. Zhou Hao still could not bring himself to believe it as he took out the black dragon spear. At this moment, the black flames of the black dragon spear surged into the sky. The red light on his entire body was magnificent. He directly squeezed out the void, trembling. There were even monstrous waves on the sea level. The sea area within 10 miles was suppressed by Zhou Hao's pressure until it sank by 10 meters. Zhou Hao was incomparably shocked and did not dare to believe it. He immediately put away this cultivation technique. His aura also instantly weakened at this moment. The god slaying is indeed incomparably powerful. It can instantly increase one's combat strength by several times, but this consumption is also really huge. In just a few breaths, I feel that more than half of the essence energy in my body has been consumed. Although Zhou Hao felt that the consumption was huge, he was still overjoyed. If it was at a critical moment, this god slaying was definitely extremely powerful. Good stuff. The higher UPS really gave us something good. Zhou Hao laughed and returned to the villa. The next morning, Zhou Hao woke up early as the training continued. I have good news and bad news. Yang Hui had a happy expression, making Su Ling and the others somewhat puzzled. Zhou Hao knew that the 13th spatial rift had already become a training base after the battle yesterday. The good news was that the 13th had fallen into the hands of the humans and had become a training base. As for the bad news, it was probably that they had to strengthen their training. Instructor Yang, what's the news? Yun Yan blinked her beautiful big eyes and could not help but ask. Yang Hui looked at everyone and said directly, the good news is that the 13th spatial rift was occupied by us humans yesterday. From now on, it will become our human training base. The foreign races will not invade. As for the bad news, from tomorrow onwards, we will increase the special training. This time, not only will our 7th elite base be sent to the training camp, but the other elite bases will also send their elites to the 13th spatial rift. If you don't want to be inferior and be looked down upon by the other training camps, from tomorrow onwards, the devilish training will begin. Chapter 338, Failed. As soon as Yang Hui finished speaking, everyone was dumbfounded. They immediately sighed. What training again? We even have to train with the other elite training bases. Heavens, what a bolt from the blue! Zhou Hao saw this and smiled. It was no wonder this group of students was like this. It was indeed because special training had been coming one after another recently and everyone did not have time to rest. However, although he said this, Zhou Hao still knew that although they were complaining like this, they might not necessarily think this way. Yang Hui looked at them and sighed, ignoring them. He was in an unprecedentedly good mood today, so he was not angry. Moreover, he knew these students very well. Although they usually said that training was tiring and difficult, when it came to actual training, they were all fighting with their lives on the line. At this moment, they were just acting. How long do you guys want to continue acting? I'm afraid you guys can't be happier. As soon as he finished speaking, the voices below instantly disappeared, and it was replaced with laughter. Yang Hui also smiled and said indifferently, all right, let's cut the crap. Starting from tomorrow, we'll enter the 13th spatial rift to eliminate the remaining foreign beasts. After he finished speaking, all the students' expressions were firm and excited. They no longer had the intention to fool around and were instead looking forward to this training. The special training will begin tomorrow. Today, everyone was given an afternoon off to rest. It was rare for Zhou Hao and the others to go out with Su Ling, Yuan Cheng, Yun Yan, and the others. Su Ling and Yun Yan had outstanding auras. They were as beautiful as snow lotuses on an ice mountain. One was enchanting, and the other was charming. When he walked with the two beauties, the number of people looking back was terrifying. Zhou Hao, Zhang Yi, and Yuan Cheng walked to the back as they accompanied Su Ling and Yun Yan shopping in the mall. They also shook their heads and laughed. How could a girl at this age not like to shop? They were usually busy with training and naturally did not have time. There was only half a day left today, so Su Ling and Yun Yan dragged the three of them out to shop. Zhou Hao looked at Su Ling's happy and satisfied expression. He knew that only by guarding all the spatial rifts and protecting the humans would this smile remain on Su Ling's face. Therefore, regardless of whether it was for the sake of the humans or Su Ling, Zhou Hao knew that he still had to become stronger until the day when he could resolve all the spatial rifts and prevent the foreign races from invading. The afternoon passed quickly. At night, Zhou Hao lay in bed and opened the Heaven Dao software. He had yet to see if there were any other cultivation techniques in the god-slaying cultivation technique he had obtained. Therefore, he immediately opened the Platinum Mystery Box and entered the god-slaying. Soon, the system gave out the Mystery Box rewards. Cultivation Technique, God Beheading Art, God Slaying, God Destroying Art, God Vanquishing Art. Zhou Hao was immediately surprised. He did not expect the God Slaying in his hand to be a second-grade cultivation technique. He had really picked up a treasure. A Heaven Realm cultivation technique was not something that ordinary cultivation techniques could compare with. Advancing such a cultivation technique was even more difficult. Zhou Hao was extremely happy that the higher UPS had given him such a powerful cultivation technique. I wonder if I can get the God-destroying art cultivation technique with my current luck points. Zhou Hao immediately exchanged 300 million coins and prepared to start the draw. This time, he had to get the God-destroying art no matter what. After mastering God-slaying, Zhou Hao finally realized how impressive this cultivation technique was. If God-slaying was already so impressive, then God-destroying art would probably be even more impressive. The increase in combat strength by several times was not something that ordinary cultivation techniques could bring. Zhou Hao felt that this God-slaying could bring him even stronger combat strength, and this God-destroying art would only be stronger. Therefore, Zhou Hao wanted to draw the mystery box. Moreover, with his current luck points of more than 100 million, it was very likely for him to get the God-destroying art. Soon, he directly opened the Platinum Mystery Box and spent more than 100 million luck points. He was about to cause an uproar in the Heaven Dao software tonight. As Zhou Hao crazily opened the Platinum Mystery Box, more than 100 million luck points were instantly consumed, along with more than 100 million coins. Ding! Congratulations on opening the mystery box and obtaining a rare level item Winter Sword. This item has been placed in your backpack. Please take note. Ding! Congratulations on opening the mystery box and obtaining a rare level item Ghost Axe. This item has been placed in your backpack. Please take note. Ding! Congratulations on opening the mystery box and obtaining a rare level item Precise Combat Boots. This item has been placed in your backpack. Please take note. Ding! Congratulations on opening the mystery box and obtaining a rare level item Mad Blood Essence Vein. This item has been placed in your backpack. Please take note. Ding! Congratulations on opening the mystery box and obtaining a rare level item Mountain River Map. This item has been placed in your backpack. Please take note. Ding! Congratulations on opening the mystery box and obtaining the legendary item Victory Battle Armor. This item has been placed in your backpack. Please take note. The Heaven Dao software was instantly flooded, and everyone was stunned. Chapter 339, Could it be? Impossible? Damn, the big shot has appeared. The big shot is making a move again. Today, the big shot opened the mystery box. How long has it been? I haven't seen the big shot open the mystery box for a long time. And I'm just an ordinary person. The big shot is invincible. As soon as the big shot makes a move, he's guaranteed to win. The big shot in the mystery box is indeed extraordinary. He's already gotten rare level items. Ha ha ha, damn, my youth has returned. The big shot didn't go to the live stream room to show off today. Instead, he opened the mystery box again. How satisfying! With so many rare and legendary treasures appearing, these people were all extremely envious. Many people had not even opened rare level items, let alone legendary level items. However, Zhou Hao was still not satisfied. He looked at the equipment that showed up and ignored them. He directly backpacked them without even looking. What he needed to do now was open the god-destroying art. Damn, the big shot hasn't stopped. How much did he spend? The big shot is rich. Kid, you really don't understand the big shot. This amount of money is nothing in the hands of a big shot. You guys can be envious. The entire Heaven Dao software was flooded by Zhou Hao. Even many big shots in the live stream ran out to watch. The scene was heated. Big shot, what equipment are you trying to get today? At this moment, Fairy Yuling sent a message. Zhou Hao looked at it and did not reply. He saw that the mystery boxes were getting fewer and fewer, but the god-destroying art did not appear, so he was somewhat anxious. He was worried that he might not be able to open god-destroying art today. Although he shouldn't be thinking this way, for some reason, he still felt like this. Soon, the mystery box was emptied. Zhou Hao looked at the exhausted luck points and 500 million coins and frowned. He really couldn't open it. Could it be that he can't even open the god-destroying art? Or is this cultivation technique too heaven-defying? Is 100 million luck points not enough? Zhou Hao was depressed. Although he had countless rare-level equipment and legendary items in his backpack, Zhou Hao could not be happy. Of course, it was not only because he had spent so many luck points and coins, but also because he felt that this god-destroying art should be very difficult to obtain. Zhou Hao took a deep breath and understood that he was still a little anxious today. This was because after seeing the might of God slaying, Zhou Hao really could not wait to obtain that god-destroying art. However, he was thinking too simply. Seeing Fairy Yuling's question, Zhou Hao directly replied. That's right, but it didn't appear. Ah? Even you couldn't get it. Fairy Yuling was too surprised when she saw this. If even an ordinary person like me couldn't get it, who else could? Big shot, can I ask what you want? Fairy Yuling was very curious. Although she knew that it was a little inappropriate to ask such a question, she still could not help but ask. Zhou Hao did not care and replied, a cultivation technique called God-destroying art. What? Fairy Yuling was immediately stunned and subconsciously looked at the big words on the chat box. Big shot, are you sure you want to open God-destroying art? When Zhou Hao saw Fairy Yuling's answer, he was stunned for a moment and hurriedly asked, Fairy Yuling, do you know this cultivation technique? Zhou Hao did not expect her to know. Could it be that she was also from the Green Cloud division? Fairy Yuling's expression was somewhat hesitant. She looked at the chat box and did not reply for a long time. After thinking for a moment, she did not answer Zhou Hao and directly opened the Heaven Dao software. Zhou Hao had been staring at the chat box, but he was immediately dumbfounded when he saw Fairy Yuling log off. Why did she go offline? What's going on? Zhou Hao could not figure it out no matter how he thought about it. Fairy Yuling, why did you go offline? Do you know about God-destroying art? However, Fairy Yuling did not reply. Her profile picture was still dark. Zhou Hao sighed and could only quit the Heaven Dao software, feeling very depressed. The next day's training began. However, it was still the first day after all, so they were not that nervous. Everyone returned after killing some strange beasts outside. This was because the other elites had yet to arrive. The elites from the 7th elite base were still taking it easy. After everyone arrived, they would enter deeper. Zhou Hao had just returned to his room after training when Zhu Zhao sent a message asking him to go over. Zhou Hao changed into his armor and disappeared from the villa, arriving at the front line of the 13th spatial rift. In just a few days, the 13th spatial rift had already improved a little. Many defense lines had appeared, and 7 tall buildings had been built for it. The flags of the training camp were hung on the 7 tall buildings. Zhou Hao did not expect Heavenly King Zhu to be so efficient. The 13th training base had just been established, but he had already prepared everything. It really surprised him. Heavenly King Zhu, I didn't expect you to be so efficient. Zhou Hao immediately smiled when he saw Heavenly King Zhu. This concerns the future of our human race. Of course I can't slack off, Zhu Zhao said directly. Heavenly King Zhu, why did you call me here today? Zhou Hao was somewhat puzzled. Chapter 340, Indignant. The battle at the 13th Spatial Rift had already ended, and the foreign race's supernatural experts had also retreated. What could have happened for Heavenly King Zhu to call him over? It's nothing serious. However, there's something small that I don't know if I should tell you. Heavenly King Zhu seemed to not want to say it. Oh? What's the matter? Heavenly King Zhu, feel free to tell me. If there's anything I can help with, I'll naturally do my best. Zhou Hao thought that the other party was asking for his help, so he directly expressed his opinion. No, no, no. It has nothing to do with the war. It's about your black dragon spear. After Zhu Zhao finished speaking, Zhou Hao was immediately stunned. A Heavenly King Zhu, don't tell me you want to take it back? Wasn't this given to me by the higher UPS? Zhou Hao loved such a weapon and was unwilling to give it back. That's not true. The higher UPS gave it to you, so what right do I have to take it? However, there are some people who aren't too satisfied with the black dragon spear in your hands. Zhu Zhao waved his hand and sighed. Unsatisfied? What do you mean? Zhou Hao frowned. He had contributed greatly to the war. There was nothing wrong with giving this to him, right? President Zhou, don't misunderstand. Actually, it's not a big deal. There's a quasi-heaven realm expert in the 12th Spatial Rift called Bai Ling Long. Although she's a female general, she's not inferior to men and has outstanding strength. She has contributed a lot of military merits, and her exclusive weapon is a spear. She's been coveting this black dragon spear for a long time and has also accumulated many battle merits. However, she's naturally unhappy that it was suddenly given to you. Moreover, Bai Ling Long is a stubborn girl. I'm afraid that she'll find you to compete. At that time, you shouldn't injure her. After Zhu Zhao finished speaking, Zhou Hao smiled. He was still wondering what was going on. It turned out to be this matter. Originally, the two of you wouldn't have met. However, the 13th Spatial Rift has become a training base. Bai Ling Long led the 6th training base here. As the commander-in-chief, she lives here. Therefore, I'm afraid the two of you will meet again. I'll inform you in advance to prevent you from not knowing what to do when the time comes. Zhou Hao naturally knew that Zhu Zhao was being kind. Don't worry, I understand. I won't really fight her. Zhou Hao did not care at all. Cough cough, let me say something else. Although Bai Ling Long is a little competitive and arrogant, I've watched this girl grow up. She's a good girl. If President Zhou likes her, you can just tell me. Zhu Zhao and Zhou Hao had known each other for a long time and liked Zhou Hao very much. Not to mention his outstanding combat strength, but he also had a human heart and was a rare hero. Therefore, he felt that since ancient times, the two of them were perfect for each other. I don't mean that. There's no need for Heavenly King Zhu to worry. Zhou Hao coughed dryly. He was already very satisfied with having Su Ling. Moreover, his status as President Zhou was fake. Sooner or later, he would stand in this world as Zhou Hao, so naturally, he could not use this identity to get involved with other girls. Forget it, I won't interfere in the matters of you young people. Heavenly King Zhu smiled. Seeing that Zhou Hao was not interested in this matter, he did not say anything. But at this moment, a cold voice sounded. Uncle Zhu, are you in the office? I'm coming in. Along with this voice, a beautiful woman in white armor walked in. This woman was incomparably beautiful, as if she had walked out of a painting. She was incomparably beautiful. Heavenly King Zhu was stunned for a moment when the woman walked in, but he quickly reacted. Ah, girl, you're here so soon. I thought it would be tomorrow. Come, let me introduce you to President Zhou. President Zhou, this is Bai Ling Long. Zhu Zhao was also very embarrassed. He did not expect the two of them to meet so quickly. Zhou Hao was also stunned for a moment. Speak of the devil. However, Zhou Hao still said politely, "Hello, Miss Bai." Bai Ling Long looked at Zhou Hao and her expression immediately changed. She snorted. "You're President Zhou." Zhou Hao sighed. Indeed, Heavenly King Zhu was not lying to him. This woman was really a little hostile towards him. "That's right," Zhou Hao said helplessly. "Very good. I heard you obtained the Black Dragon Spear, right?" Bai Ling Long immediately went straight to the point. She had coveted this Black Dragon Spear for a long time, but she did not have enough battle merits. Therefore, over the years, she had fought in various spatial rifts and established many military merits to exchange for this Black Dragon Spear. However, she did not expect that just as she was about to succeed, the higher UPS actually handed the spear to President Zhou. She had actually known about this long ago. This was because Sword King Qing had looked for her before he gave it to Zhou Hao. He had even taken out Zhou Hao's combat video. She had watched the video of Zhou Hao insta-killing the 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts. Although Zhou Hao's spear technique was very weak, his combat strength was very strong. In addition, this person was the #1 quasi-heaven realm expert. Therefore, for the sake of the overall situation, she naturally agreed. After all, she approved of the treasure and Zhou Hao's skills. However, she was still indignant.